and good morning. My name is Kieron Seamons and this is my inky world, where we talk all inky painty drawing life things. And today's question is from, I better not say who from. What happens when your pencil doesn't work? What happens when your pencil doesn't work to bring out your inner feelings? This has been going on too long. How can I fix this? Right. Well, let's have a talk about it. Let's have a talk about how to bring out those inner feelings. How to grab hold of your soul. Give it a good shake. Let's talk about it. So I had already started, and of course the camera didn't work. Father Christmas, if you're watching this video, can you please send me an iPad with about at least 128 gig so that I can store my films? Please send me a new iPad, because this one is about, well, I think it came around with the dinosaurs, and it sometimes doesn't want to work or cuts off halfway. So thank you, Father Christmas. Right, so if you're stuck, and we do, I had gone through this idea that's already drawn out 4, and this idea of when you're in that state where you cannot draw and you cannot do anything, and you're making yourself feel uncomfortable, and you're getting angry, and you're kind of chasing your tail, and nothing is really looking that good, nothing you're really pleased with, then most of the cases, most of the situations are that you are simply just doing the same thing. You're starting off with your piece of paper and you're doodling your same little ball, or you're drawing your same little man that you draw every time. You're doing your same whatever every time, and your brain is bored. So today we are going to shake it up a little bit. Today we are going to we're going to put down whatever you usually do. If you usually use a pen like I do, today we're going to use a paintbrush. Okay? And we are going to do everything that you don't usually do, okay? If you use a pencil, don't use a pencil. If you use a brush, don't use a brush. If you use a dip pen with ink, don't use a dip pen and ink. Use something completely different. So in this case, we are going to use a brush. And I'm going to choose some ink over there. I'm not even sure. It looks like a yellow, but it could be any color. And my water is dirty, so it'll tint it somehow. And the way to do it is to basically just do that. That's the simplest solution. The simplest solution is to kind of do that around a page and just have something there to activate that brain, activate your thought process. And I was doing this kind of pear shape, and the idea was to kind of do a circular pear shape, long oblong type of thing to give a variation of something. I'm going to throw some blue on top. And yes, of course it has changed it to a green, because I've kind of mixed in some beautiful yellow with it, and that makes a fantastic color. Look at that. Isn't that absolutely superb? And what it does is it kind of gives you this idea that there is something on the top. That could be hair, it could be a hat, it could be something, and there's some kind of big V shape. It could be a dress, it could be, and we don't know. And that's giving us a challenge. It's giving us that that movement forward. Now, this one will be too wet, but I will choose one of the other ones. Hopefully they've dried out a little bit, which is where I had got to in the stage before. I got to a stage where I had, well, there you go. That's probably dry, I hope. Okay. So we will do something there, and what we can instantly see is I've got some kind of upside down pear shape, and that has instantly changed my drawing view. My drawing view is usually something like that. Usually some kind of inky line that I kind of draw around and play with. So by using this paint, it changes how my brain is thinking, and it's an unusual situation to be in. And there's 1,000 ways to activate it, and there's 1,000 million ways to, where's my ink gone? Sometimes I draw on the sofa when Mr. Miro is snoring. And what it will do is it will give you this break in the system. It'll give you this break in your patterns and your habits, and your habits can be quite repetitive, to be honest. You know, most people that do landscapes, for example, they will start off and they'll go along the top and they'll bleed the blue down to a nice kind of yellow or something, and then they'll do the hills, and it's a pattern, and every single time you go to do a landscape, you do the same thing, and you get into these habits and these patterns. And the way to do that is to obviously change your view, change your pattern, but also to paint it in a different mode. And today we are going to try and draw a person of sorts. Let's try and, now there might be a little bit of bleeding on this book because the paper is quite wet from my throwing down of ink. And I kind of see a little lady's face in there somewhere. And the point here is to try to draw it also in a little bit of a style that you're unfamiliar with. And I'm just going to try to draw a cute little face in that kind of upside down pear. But I'm going to try to make it not look so much like one of my drawings, if that is possible, if that is something that I can do. And again, the reason for doing this, do that on that side better. The reason for doing this is to give your brain a rest. You know, you're kind of doing sunset, 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 portrait, 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 horse, 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 horse. And you love drawing horses, and you love the excitement of drawing horses, and you draw horses every single time, and your brain's bored with it. And what you need to do is you need to activate that artist within you. You need to activate it. You need to activate something to stimulate your soul. Get your soul acted. You know, you got to grab your soul and shake it. Wake it up. Get it excited by what we are going to try and do today. And I'm trying to kind of use those blodges and blobs there as little cheeks, and it's become a very sweet little face. Mr. Muir's barking. It's only a letter. Don't worry, Mr. Muir. It's a letter. Don't worry. Mr. Muir gets so excited seeing. And it's a very, very unusual time to hear him actually bark. He's quite a gentle little beast. In fact, if you look there, it's almost given me, not by plan, it's just by wiggling a brush. It's kind of given me a shape there to drop an ear in. Can you see that? And I'm actually going to do a little bit of shading on this one. No idea why, but it will again break up the mood, because I'm not really a person that does much shading, and it will break up a little bit of the mood of it. And you can look around and kind of analyze your drawing. I can see there's lines that are bleeding across there. And there's a lump at the back, almost like her hair has been tied up. And that's kind of like you kind of analyzing what your paintbrush has thrown down for you. It's not just about you drawing on top of it. You know, you just forcing it into something. Look and analyze. The way that has fallen is almost given me a hairstyle, you know. It's like, I almost kind of feel like there should be, you know. And it's really quite beautiful. And the same way there, I almost kind of feel like there's some kind of high collar or something, you know. And you could add buttons. And the way that the two colors divide there kind of make me feel like that's her hair falling down. And there already you have this wonderful character that's coming out of the scribble of paint, and it is indicating that there is almost like a face hidden in the paper. And this is something that you really can look at with each individual squiggle and swirl that you come up with. Each one will be very, very different, in the same way that this blue one is the same type of curve, but it looks so clean, almost like it's a hat or a scarf or something wrapped around her neck. Whereas this is actually very much feeding into this. There's actually a wax pencil there, and I'm just going to see if that will add a little bit more texture to that hair. And it really is. It's kind of giving me this kind of grainy feeling over, and it's giving me this feeling that there's a different texture between the hair and the face. Even in the same way that you could kind of rub it into the cheeks a little bit, maybe, you know. But don't put your finger in the ink. Well, it was a very cute girl until some silly person put their finger right in, trying to be too clever, trying to be doing too much. And I will have to try to save that, because it was such a sweet little nose. My apologies for that. I should have been much more aware. And I'm wondering if I should white that and add the, yes, I will do. It will be easier to add white and add the rosiness to it than the other way around, and then from black to add a rosiness. So I tried to save it there, but you can see that my meaning behind it is, well, sometimes I get a little bit too excited by things. And you have this way of looking into your drawing. And sometimes by concentrating and looking into the drawing, you put your finger in the ink. No. You kind of concentrate onto this, what the paper has given you, and not so much about what you're trying to pull from it, but more the fact of what the paper is giving you. And it is a very, very lovely kind of game to play with your paper. It really can be quite beautiful. Right, let's leave that one to dry. And that one looks very wet. Let's try the blue one. So by here we're starting off fresh with a lovely blue, and we can kind of come up with a different character straight away. We can kind of come up with somebody with a nose that's very different. And by starting off with this type of approach, it instantly changes the view. Instantly is giving you this feeling that something is there, something is hidden. And it's a very, very beautiful way to kind of discover things. What character's face is in this paper? Now it's given me a very kind of male view here. Now, one thing I've just noticed, and I didn't notice it when I drew it on the girl, but I've just realized it now, that these characters have all got black eyes. Now, it is definitely not an intentional thing, but for some reason, I have done it. And that is not the stage, for example, like with the nose. When I moved the ink, it made a mistake, and it's a clear mistake. Now that I've drawn the eyes black, that is the paper talking to me. That's the paper saying, that's the character in here. That is who's hidden in this paper. And the beautiful part about that is that it then becomes part of the image. It is not a mistake. It is actually what the paper wants. What this painting is all about is some kind of character who has got black eyes. And that, for me, is beautiful. That really excites my mind, because it's telling me that my both brains are working here. That basically one brain is basically doing the technique of using a pen and dipping the ink and blah, 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 blah. Whereas the other brain is soaking up what the paper is giving me. And it's thinking about what is coming out from that image. And the whole fact that this is coming out in this way is giving me this beautiful, natural feeling from the drawing, from the character. That this character is hidden in the paper. And there is no other way to let this character out. This is who is in the character, in the paper, hidden away. It's this this character here with black eyes and big teeth. And it's almost suggesting that I add a little mustache to him. The way that that mark was on the paper there just suggested add a mustache. Now, instantly you can start to see how I'm taking from the paper, and that lovely lady and this strange man is very different. And this is something that I do a lot of. I do this a lot on my daily drawings, my daily sketches, is that I am drawing in a way to relax my state, relax what I'm doing and what I am expecting. There is no expectation of what I need to do from this drawing. I am basically trying to listen to what is coming out. And you can do the same thing if you're oil painting, or if you're drawing with ink or whatever. Relax your mind and just listen to the way the drawing is pulling you. Take the vibrations from whatever it's giving you and just relax into it. And part of the question from today was, how do I kind of break away from that pencil? Well, I mean, it can be a break away from the pencil. It can be draw with paints, draw with ink, draw with your toes, you know. But at the same time, it can also be that you need to listen more. Let the drawings kind of lead you. Not so much about you leading them. Not so much about you forcing the drawing, you know. And, you know, it's a very difficult thing not to do if you've been drawing for a long time, and then you're kind of saying, well, you know, I know how to draw horses. I'm great at drawing horses or portraits or whatever. I'm brilliant at it. So I can do it. And I can do it, and then I feel comfortable. And this is about not being comfortable. This is about drawing something, you know, you can see it in a lot of very good abstract painters. Not the bish bash bosh crap, but I mean the people that really are doing something and they're feeling almost every movement. They're feeling it, and you can see how different that artwork comes out. You can see that some of that art is really quite phenomenal. When you do look at some of those pieces of art, you are sucked in. You are pulled into the love and the passion that is on that canvas. And it's very powerful. And it's the same way with the drawing. If I was to draw this with pencil, it would, I'm quite confident that it would have been a similar version of this person, because this person is hidden in the paper. Now, of course, if I was to take another piece of paper, it would be very different. As you can see here from the drawings around me, every drawing is different. Every drawing has got its own passion, its own drive, its own direction. And that, for me, is what is beautiful about art. What is beautiful about this whole emotional state of drawing and painting and such like. Now, this is too dark. This is too wet now for me to add. And that is the problem with this situation, is that you really need to be doing it and letting it dry, and then doing it and letting it dry. Otherwise you get this thing like what I've just done with this young lady. But these are too damp. But that gives you a very good entrance into relaxing and changing that comfortable state. Get out of that comfortable state. If you are drawing the same thing and you're looking at your sketchbook and you're going, well, it's like 500 portraits, and you go, well, I'm a portrait painter. Oh, okay. If you think so, great. But at the same time, you could say, well, what else? What else is in my paper? What else could I draw? What else can I release? And you might find that there's, you know, with all those portrait paintings, you might find that you have done a whole batch of pages that are just abstract color, just to release some of that energy. So, a very bizarre two drawings. Can you get them both in? I will do the same type of thing here, but they are too wet. They're more wet than I thought they were going to be. But I hope that is enough for you to understand the concept here of breaking away from that comfortable state. Don't get too comfortable. Sometimes you have to kind of reach in and grab your soul and release it, you know. Let it explore the paper. Let it explore the ink. Let it explore what you could draw. And there's a million billion different things. And every single time you do a line with your brush will be different. And that needs to be explored. And the more you explore it, the more you will love exploring it. And the more that you explore it, the less you will fall back into that comfortable state, because you will be thinking more and more, as I do every day, what will happen today? What will I draw today? And I never know if it's going to be a dreadful drawing, it's going to be a disastrous drawing, or it's going to be a beautiful piece. And it's going to be a piece that I'm desperately want to keep. So, thank you very much for your question. And I hope that helps you. I hope that opens your mind to being more comfortable and to being more courageous. Thank you very much for being here today, and thank you very much for your support. I do appreciate every single one of you, and I would love to know what you think about my two drawings today. I've got a particular like for the young lady who's got a lovely sweet smile. And tell me what you think about the black eyes. What happened? Where has that come from? Interesting. Interesting. Right. So I will let you go. Have a beautiful day. Keep drawing, keep painting, and keep sending me comments. I love to hear your thoughts. I love to hear how you are getting through your art and how your art day is. I love to hear about it. So I'll see you all very, very soon for some more drawing and some more scribbling and sketching. Until then, bye-bye.